It wasn't until Chloe, the scholarship student, showed up that I realized I was just a placeholder princess. But my father didn't know that. So, at a business gala, he announced loudly, "Anya, tell daddy who you like, bring him over. And I'll welcome my new son-in-law." Today the entire ballroom turned to look at the three wealthy heirs, who had once been my closest friends, my protectors. But the three of them acted as if they hadn't heard a thing. One was feeding Chloe a piece of cake. Another was making her laugh. The third was watching her with an expression of pure, tender adoration. The silence was thick with awkwardness. My father's face stiffened. "Dad," I said quickly, "my boyfriend is studying abroad. I'll bring him to meet you when he's back." The three of them shot me a look of pure scorn. I knew they didn't believe me. They thought I was just trying to save face. But the truth was, I really did have a boyfriend. The next time I visited their homes, it was to deliver my wedding invitations. I was having tea with Mrs. Hayes when Liam, her son, came downstairs. "Liam, darling," she called out. "We were just talking about Anya's wedding." Liam, every inch. The domineering CEO shot me a glare. "Anya, who said anything about marrying you? Don't use my mother to pressure me. I told you I'm not interested. Get it through your head." He stormed out of the house. Without another word. Mrs. Hayes sighed. "That boy only ever hears half of a conversation. You said you were marrying him." She looked at me apologetically.
"Anya,
"I'm so sorry. I don't know what's gotten into Liam. He used to adore you. He and the other two were always fighting over who could be nicer to you. I used to think he'd have to fight them off if he wanted to be my son-in-law.
but now."
I just smiled and shook my head. "It's fine. You can't force a connection that isn't there." "Well, I should get going." "Of course, dear. We'll be at your wedding." From the Hayes estate, I went to the Thorne residence as the maid was showing me in. Ethan was just ending a call. The moment he saw me, a smirk touched his lips. "Liam just called," he said, walking towards me. "Said you tried to force a marriage proposal at his house. And now you're trying your luck with me." He put on his usual mask of gentle civility.
"Anya,
"I thought we made it clear at the gala. We're not interested in you. We're not going to marry you. You should stop this." I just smiled and nodded. "Which is why I'm here. To deliver my wedding invitation." He froze for a second. Then that mocking smile returned. "Let me guess. You're pulling the same stunt your father did. Going to corner one of us at the altar. So we'll have to play along to avoid a scene." "Anya, haven't you learned your lesson? We don't like you. And we won't do anything that might make Chloe misunderstand. You won't be able to invent another fake boyfriend to save yourself. This time." I shook my head, about to speak, but his phone rang again. His entire demeanor softened when he saw the caller ID. "Hey, Chloe. Okay, I'll be right there." He hung up and shot me a look that said, "You're on your own for brushing past me and leaving." It seemed that because of my father's stunt at the gala, they were utterly convinced I was trying to trap one of them into marriage. Fine. They find out the truth soon enough. Mrs. Thorne came out then, greeting me warmly and accepting the invitation. My Ethan just doesn't know how lucky he could have been.
she sighed.
I was delivering the invitations myself. Because despite the fractured friendship with the three of them, their parents had always been incredibly kind to me. After my mother died, and my father threw himself into his work, I had spent my childhood rotating between their three homes. I would never forget the warmth and love they had shown me. Just then, I saw a new post on Chloe's social media. A picture of the four of them at an amusement park.
Perfect.
That meant I could go to the third house without any interruptions. I was sitting with Mrs. Monroe when I said the wedding is next month. "Mom, how could you arrange a marriage between me and Anya without asking me? This is my girlfriend, Chloe." Noah Monroe stormed in, pulling Chloe by the hand. "Mom, I know we used to play house, and you all joked about me marrying Anya, but we were just kids. We're adults now. You have to respect my choice." Mrs. Monroe was stunned. "Noah, that's not." But Noah, never one for patience, was already glaring at me. "Anya, can you just stop chasing us? Do you really think getting our parents to pressure us is going to work? Don't you see how much we can't stand you right now? How we're trying to get away from you?"
"Noah."
Mrs. Monroe snapped, her voice sharp. But he wasn't listening. "I love Chloe, and I will never, ever marry Anya. So you can all just wait for a wedding that's never going to happen." He grabbed Chloe's hand and dragged her out. Mrs. Monroe sighed heavily. "He's not even interested in Anya. Where does he get the confidence to think she'd want to marry him?" I just shrugged with a small smile. "He probably dislikes me so much right now. He can't be bothered to listen to anything I say. It's fine. They'll all understand eventually." When I left the Monroe mansion, all four of them, Liam, Ethan, Noah, and Chloe, were waiting outside. Remembering how much they supposedly despised me, I decided to ignore them and walk away.
"Anya."
Chloe ran up and grabbed my arm. Don't misunderstand. Noah was just pretending I was his girlfriend to get you to back off. Chloe, why are you even talking to her? I'm doing this to get rid of her. Noah called out impatiently.
Noah.
Don't be like that. We're all friends. I only met you guys because of Anya. I miss the days when the five of us used to hang out together. Chloe said sweetly.
Anya.
Please don't be mad at everyone. I really want us all to be friends again. As she spoke, her nails dug sharply into my arm. I hissed in pain and pulled my arm away.
Ah.
She stumbled backward as if I had shoved her with all my might. Chloe. The three of them rushed to her side, their faces etched with concern.
Anya.
Chloe is being so nice to you and you push her? Have you no conscience?
Noah yelled.
Ethan's face was cold. Chloe has been trying to get you to rejoin our group, but it seems you're just not worthy. Apologize to Chloe right now, Anya. Liam commanded, his voice low and dangerous. Chloe leaned against Liam, looking fragile and hurt, but her eyes, when they met mine, were filled with a familiar, triumphant malice. I brushed off my arm and gave them a cold look. I'm so terrible. Why would I ever apologize to her? If you just keep her away from me, she won't get hurt. Problem solved. I turned and walked away.
Anya.
If you don't learn to be kind to Chloe, then there's nothing left between us. Liam's cold voice followed me. A bitter smile touched my lips. Since Chloe had appeared, had there ever been anything left between us to begin with? That evening, Mrs. Hayes asked me to deliver some medication to her at their vacation villa in the suburbs. But when I got there, only Liam, Ethan, and Noah were there. It turned out her parents had tricked all of us, and our cars were gone. There was no way to get back to the city. Tonight, on the phone, Mrs. Hayes said she hoped that by being in this place, a place filled with so many childhood memories, we would reconcile and become friends again. Noah scoffed, what a waste of time. I wonder if Chloe needs us for anything. His words made Liam and Ethan frown with worry. I agreed it was a waste of time, but looking around the familiar villa, I couldn't help but feel a pang of nostalgia. I walked over to the grand piano that had been sitting in the corner for over a decade. I remembered the four of us, 8 clumsy hands, trying to play a duet. Noah was always the troublemaker. We would end up bickering and laughing while our parents watched, taking countless pictures of us at this very piano. Chloe started taking piano lessons. Look, I took a video of her. Noah pulled out his phone. Liam and Ethan immediately crowded around to watch. The sound of hesitant, clumsy notes filled the air, followed by Chloe's sweet voice. They watched completely engrossed. Their faces lit up with smiles. I stepped outside onto the patio. The lights illuminated the swimming pool. I remembered the summer. They'd had a contest to see who could hold their breath the longest. I was so young. I thought they were drowning. I jumped in, screaming to save them. Liam, Ethan, Noah, don't worry. I'm coming. Of course, I was the one who ended up swallowing half the pool. They all had to work together to pull me out, half laughing, half exasperated. Our little Anya, so cute and so clumsy. We'll have to protect you forever. The words echoed in my ears. And they had. They had protected me my entire life. They shielded me from every danger. Took me for ice cream. Took me on adventures. The air around me seemed to shimmer with the ghost of our laughter. But then a real voice shattered the illusion. Chloe, don't be scared. We're coming to get you right now. Liam was on the phone with her, his voice frantic. There's a thunderstorm in the city, and Chloe's terrified. We have to go to her. He turned to the other two, who looked just as panicked. They rushed out of the villa, looking around wildly. There are no cars. I don't care. I'm not waiting. I'm running back. Noah gritted his teeth and started sprinting into the darkness. The other two were right behind him.
Wait.
I called out. Noah spun around and glared at me.
Anya.
Chloe is crying her eyes out. And you're trying to stop us because you're jealous. Liam and Ethan shot me equally annoyed looks. My face was impassive. By the time you run all the way back, storm will be over and she'll have already been scared. Then what are we supposed to do? We can't just wait here. Noah seated, ready to run again. Ethan, the more rational of the three, stopped him. Let's call someone to pick us up. And in the meantime, we'll look for another way to get back. They started searching the villa grounds with their phone flashlights. We knew every inch of this place. From all the games of hide and seek we had played as kids. There's an old utility vehicle over here, I said, shining my light on a dusty, 3-wheeled vehicle in the corner of the garage. They rushed over. After a bit of effort, they managed to get it started. Liam got in the driver's seat. Ethan and Noah squeezed into the back. It was a tight fit. There was no room for a third person. They all hesitated, looking at me. I shrugged. I never planned on going back with you anyway. Go ahead, Anya. Ethan started. My voice was cool. Chloe's probably terrified, that was all it took. Your concern for me evaporated, Anya. We'll send someone back for you.
Liam said.
And then he was gone. The little vehicle sputtering off into the night, carrying them towards the girl they cared about. And with them disappeared 20 years of memories. Goodbye, my old friends, I whispered to the darkness. Just then a sleek black car pulled up. The man who got out had come straight from the airport. I ran to him with a smile and threw myself into his arms. The rain was coming down in sheets, blurring the world into gray static, but inside the sleek black Maybach, the air was warm and smelled faintly of cedar and expensive cologne. You're soaking wet, the man said, his voice a low rumble that vibrated against my chest. He didn't ask why I was there. He didn't ask where the others were. He simply pulled off his trench coat and wrapped it around my shivering shoulders. Julian, I breathed, burying my face in the crook of his neck. You came? Julian Vandermeer, the scion of a banking dynasty that made the Hayes, Thorne, and Monroe fortunes look like pocket change, tightened his hold on me. I told you I'd be back in time for the wedding. I landed an hour ago. Your father told me you were here. He pulled back slightly, his dark eyes scanning my face, noting the redness in my eyes. Where are they, Anya? Where are the protectors? I looked out the tinted window at the empty driveway where the three-wheeled utility cart had sputtered away moments ago. They left, I whispered, the final thread of attachment snapping in my chest. Chloe was scared of the thunder. Julian's jaw tightened. A dangerous stillness settled over him. He didn't shout. Men like Julian didn't need to shout to be terrifying. They left you? Alone? In the middle of nowhere? With a storm breaking? They had to go save the princess, I said, a dry, humorless laugh escaping me. I was just the extra weight. Julian kissed my forehead, a gesture so tender it made my heart ache. Driver, he commanded calmly, take us home. And have the security team sweep the villa. I don't want Miss Anya leaving so much as a hair tie behind in this place. As the car glided away, I didn't look back. For 20 years, I had been looking back, waiting for them to catch up. Tonight, I finally looked forward. Liam, Ethan, and Noah arrived at Chloe's apartment soaking wet, shivering, and covered in mud from the open-air utility cart. They burst through the door, panic etched on their faces. Chloe, are you okay? Noah shouted, rushing into the living room. Chloe was sitting on the sofa, wrapped in a fluffy blanket, watching a reality show. She looked up, blinking, a half-eaten slice of pizza in her hand. There were no tears.
No trembling.
Oh, hey guys, she said casually. You're back early. It was raining really hard, so the cable flickered for a second. It was spooky. The three men froze. The adrenaline that had fueled their frantic, dangerous drive through the storm began to curdle into something sour. The cable flickered? Ethan asked, his voice tight. You called Liam screaming that you were terrified. Chloe pouted, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. She dropped the pizza crust and stood up, rushing to hug Liam, ignoring the mud. I felt so alone. But then I watched TV and felt better. Why are you guys looking at me like that? Aren't you happy I'm safe? Liam peeled her arms off him gently, a strange hollowness in his chest. We left Anya, he muttered.
What?
Chloe asked, her eyes widening innocently. We took the only vehicle, Ethan said, the reality crashing down on him.
He pulled out his phone.
We left Anya at the villa, alone, in the dark. Oh, she's fine, Chloe said dismissively, waving her hand. Anya is tough. Besides, she probably called her boyfriend to pick her up. You know, the imaginary one? Noah let out a breath, latching onto that excuse.
Right. Yeah.
She's probably sitting there feeling sorry for herself, waiting for us to feel guilty. She's manipulative like that. Ethan was already dialing Anya's number. The number you have dialed is currently unavailable. She turned her phone off, Ethan said, frowning. She's playing games. Let's go back, Liam said, turning toward the door. We can't leave her there. Liam. Chloe cried out, tears instantly springing to her eyes. You're going to leave me again? After I was so scared? You're choosing her over me? The three of them hesitated. The habit of coddling Chloe was deeply ingrained. But before they could decide, Ethan's phone pinged with a notification from the villa's security system. Main gate opened. Vehicle departure. 11:45 p.m. Someone picked her up, Ethan said, staring at the screen. A black sedan. Unmarked plates. See. Noah scoffed, throwing his hands up. She called a car service.
She's fine.
God, she loves making us worry for nothing. Liam stared at the floor. He felt a phantom weight on his chest. For the first time, he remembered Anya's face as they drove away. She hadn't been angry. She hadn't been crying. She had looked indifferent. And that terrified him more than her anger ever could. 2 weeks passed. The silence from Anya was absolute. She didn't come to their houses.
She didn't text.
She didn't appear at their usual social hangouts. She's really committing to the bit. Noah laughed one afternoon as they sat in the Thorne family garden. Trying to make us beg. It's working on my mother, Ethan sighed, rubbing his temples. She won't stop crying. She says Anya sent a gift basket thanking her for years of kindness and returning the spare key to our house. Liam stiffened. She returned the key?
Yeah. Sent one to your house too, Liam.
And yours, Noah. The three men fell silent. The keys weren't just metal. They were symbols of the open-door policy that had defined their childhood. Returning them felt final. Whatever, Noah grumbled, though he looked uneasy. She's just escalating the drama before this fake wedding of hers. I bet she's going to invite us just to humiliate us when no groom shows up. As if summoned, the butler walked out onto the patio, carrying 3 heavy, cream-colored envelopes embossed with gold leaf. Gentlemen, the butler said. Couriers just delivered these. Liam took his envelope. The paper was thick, textured, and smelled of expensive linen. He broke the wax seal, a crest he didn't recognize, featuring a lion and a shield. You are cordially invited to the wedding of Anya V. and Julian V. The Cathedral of St. Jude. Reception to follow at the Sterling Grand Hotel.
Huh?
Noah snorted. She couldn't even hire a guy with a last name? Who is this? Ethan frowned, pulling out his phone. St. Jude's? That's the most exclusive cathedral in the city. You need a 2-year waiting list and a donation in the 7 figures just to book the rehearsal. Daddy's money, Liam said dismissively, tossing the invitation onto the table. Her dad is bankrolling this farce to help her save face. She wants us to go so she can stand at the altar alone and guilt-trip us for ruining her life. So, we don't go? Ethan asked. No, Liam's eyes darkened. We go. We take Chloe. And we watch her life fall apart. We need to end this delusion of hers once and for all so we can go back to how things were. The day of the wedding, the city was buzzing. The streets around St. Jude's were barricaded, and paparazzi were swarming. This is a lot of effort for a fake wedding, Noah muttered as their limousine pulled up to the checkpoint. Chloe, dressed in a white cocktail dress that was perilously close to a bridal gown, clung to Liam's arm.
I'm nervous, Liam.
What if she yells at me again? She won't, Liam said, patting her hand. We're here. We won't let her bully you. They stepped out of the car and froze. The guest list wasn't just their local social circle. It was the elite. Senators, A-list celebrities, foreign dignitaries, and business tycoons from Europe and Asia were filing into the cathedral. Is that the Duke of Sussex? Ethan whispered, his eyes wide. And the CEO of Vandermeer Global, Noah pointed out. Why is he here? They found their seats, not in the front row where families sat, but in the middle, respectable but distant. The placement was a subtle message. Your guests, not family. The organ music swelled. The heavy oak doors groaned open. Chloe leaned in, whispering loudly. I bet she walks down alone. But she didn't. Anya appeared. She was breathtaking. Her dress was a custom masterpiece of lace and silk that hugged her figure and trailed behind her like a cloud. She wore a tiara, not a plastic party favor, but a band of diamonds that caught the light with blinding intensity. She walked with her father, her head held high. She didn't look at the crowd. She didn't look for the 3 men who had broken her heart. Her eyes were fixed on the end of the aisle. Liam followed her gaze. Standing at the altar was a man who made Liam feel like a boy. Tall, broad-shouldered, with sharp, aristocratic features and an aura of absolute command. That's Julian Vandermeer. Ethan choked out, his face draining of color. Who? Noah asked. The V on the invitation, Ethan hissed. Julian Vandermeer. He owns half the shipping lines in the hemisphere. He's untouchable. Liam, she's marrying a billionaire. Liam felt the world tilt. This wasn't a hired actor. This wasn't a desperate ploy. The look in Julian's eyes as he watched Anya approach was one of pure, unadulterated devotion. Anya reached the altar. Her father kissed her cheek and placed her hand in Julian's. Julian leaned down and whispered something that made Anya smile, a genuine, radiant smile that the 3 friends hadn't seen in years. If anyone objects to this union, the priest intoned. The cathedral was silent. In his seat, Noah gripped the pew in front of him, his knuckles white. It's real, he whispered. She wasn't lying. Chloe, sensing the shift, tried to salvage the narrative. He probably just wants her dad's company, she whispered viciously. He doesn't love her. Shut up, Liam snapped. It was the first time he had ever raised his voice at Chloe. He stared at Anya, realizing with a sickening lurch that while he had been playing games, she had been building a kingdom. The reception was held at the Sterling Grand, a venue so opulent it made the Hayes estate look like a cottage. The three men and Chloe stood in a corner, clutching champagne flutes, isolated despite the crowd. They watched Anya and Julian dance. They moved in perfect synchronization, Julian's hand protective on her waist, Anya's head resting on his shoulder. "We have to talk to her," Ethan said. "We have to explain." "Explain what?" Noah shot back, though he looked sick. "That we called her a liar? That we left her in a storm? That we didn't know?" Liam insisted, his voice cracking. "We didn't know she had him. Would it have mattered?" The voice came from behind them. Anya stood there. Up close, she was even more stunning. But her eyes, once warm and pleading, were cool and detached. Julian stood a step behind her, his hand resting casually on the small of her back, his gaze sharp as a blade. "Anya," Liam breathed, stepping forward. "Anya, congratulations." "Thank you," she said politely. "We didn't believe you," Ethan blurted out. We thought you were making it up to get our attention. Because of Chloe." Anya's gaze flickered to Chloe, who was shrinking back, intimidated by Julian's presence. "I know," Anya said simply. "You thought the world revolved around you. You thought I was so desperate for your crumbs that I would invent a life just to make you jealous." "We were wrong," Liam said. "Anya, we miss you. The moms miss you. Can we just start over? We're sorry." Chloe piped up, her voice shrill.
Yeah, Anya.
"I'm sorry if I made you feel bad, but you were mean to me too. So let's just call it even." Julian laughed. It was a dark, dry sound. "Even? You manipulated these three fools, alienated my wife from her support system, and left her stranded in a storm. There is nothing even about this." "It's okay, Julian," Anya said softly, touching his arm. She looked at the three men who had been her brothers. "I'm not angry anymore," she said, and the truth of it hit them harder than rage. I used to cry myself to sleep wondering why I wasn't enough for you. Why a girl you met 3 months ago mattered more than 20 years of friendship." She took a sip of champagne. "But then I realized you didn't protect me because you respected me. You protected me because I was your little Anya. The moment I had a mind of my own, the moment I wasn't the damsel, you turned on me." "That's not true," Noah protested weakly. "It is," she said. "And that night at the villa? When you drove away, you didn't just leave me in the rain. You drove out of my life. I don't need protectors anymore, Liam. I have a partner." She leaned back into Julian. "I have a husband who listens to me.
Who believes me?"
"Anya, please." Liam stepped closer, desperation clawing at him. "We're family." "No," Anya said firm. "Family doesn't leave you behind." She turned to leave. "Wait," Chloe shrieked, unable to handle the loss of attention. "You think you're better than us just because you married a rich guy? You're still just a placeholder princess. Your dad said so." The music in the immediate area seemed to stop. Julian turned slowly. He didn't look at Chloe, he looked at Liam, Ethan, and Noah. "I suggest," Julian said, his voice ice cold, "that you remove your guest from my wedding. Before security removes all of you. And if she ever approaches my wife again, I will bankrupt your families before you can blink." The threat was not idle. They knew it. Liam grabbed Chloe's arm, hard. "We're leaving." "But Liam." "Shut up, Chloe," Ethan hissed. "Just shut up." They walked out of the ballroom, the sound of laughter and celebration fading behind them. The fallout was slow and painful. The truth about Chloe came out 2 months later. Without Anya as a common enemy to unite them, the cracks in the group formed quickly. Chloe, emboldened by her relationship with the three heirs, began to demand more. She pitted them against each other, cheated on Noah with a guy from her university, and was eventually caught selling gossip about the Hayes family to a tabloid. The breakup was messy. Chloe was exiled from their social circle, but the damage was done. The three men tried to reach out to Anya. They sent flowers returned. They wrote letters unopened. They visited her father, who looked at them with disappointment and told them, "She's happy. Let her be." 1 year later, Liam was at a charity gala in Paris. He was alone. He looked across the room and saw them. Anya and Julian were sitting at a private table. Anya was laughing, her head thrown back, radiant in a red dress. Julian was whispering something in her ear, looking at her as if she were the only person in the room. Liam watched them for a long time. He remembered the cake feeding, the adoration he had once shown Chloe while Anya watched from the sidelines. He realized now that Anya hadn't been jealous of the romance, she had been grieving the friendship. He took a step forward, wanting to go to her, to apologize one more time. But then, Anya looked up. Her eyes scanned the crowd and locked onto his. There was no hate. There was no scorn. She simply looked at him, gave a small, polite nod, the kind you give to a distant acquaintance, and turned back to her husband. Liam froze. The message was clear. "You are a stranger to me." He turned around and walked out into the Paris night. The air was cold, and for the first time in his life, he realized that no amount of money, power, or history could fix what he had broken. He had treated a queen like a placeholder, and now, he was the one left standing outside the castle walls. Anya was gone, and she was never coming back.